Howdys and salutations, y'all. How's it been? Y'all had a good Monday? I hope you did. Good Tuesday, however far into it you might be. Some people are probably on to Wednesday already. But that's the way of things. We are picking up on Artfight with, if you don't count today, 3 days to go before it starts. If you're interested in doing it, definitely worth checking it out. You don't have to have everything done by the start. Like, you can absolutely... let's see, that's that one. Cool. You can absolutely submit character sheets throughout the month. I mean, that's what I did last time. I didn't even have a character sheet on the site until like the last 2 weeks. I took a long time to get ready. But yeah, it's been a fun month getting ready for it, honestly. Let's see. Do I lighten this one? Do I lighten that whole vibe, or do I keep the high contrast up there? We still got high contrast going on. Fine. Leave that one super high contrast. But I was experimenting with lightening these up a little bit, and I decided I did kind of like the effect a little better. So I'm going to leave it as is, and we're going to jump into Shadows. This is going to be a fun one, I hope. It usually is. And, but yeah, before we jump too far into it, I'll go ahead and start setting up the layers while we talk, see if I can multitask. Probably not, maybe. Shadows. Probably ought to throw highlights on there too, actually. We'll see if we get to them, but with the metals, it's more likely that they'll matter. But yeah, Artfight, a lot of fun. Do be wary of waiting too long, because, well, not waiting too long, but just be a little wary as a heads up. I think they're having some minor server issues with it. It seems like a lot of internet stuff's been a little bit wonky. Some of that might be on my end, but I think some of that's external. And some of that with Artfight is just the fact that it is still like... It's not like some professional art group that puts this on. This is just a thing some folks started for fun, and it has exploded. The Discord has almost 200,000 people in it. It's huge. It's very fun, I've got to say. But it's really stinking big. This is not what I wanted to happen, because I clicked the wrong button. Oh dear. Oh well. Don't dox me, probably gonna dox me. Hey, we good. We double good. But yeah, Artfight, the Discord, it really huge. Let's see. Cheapers. They've got 430 donators and like a whole separate category of VP donators just in the Discord. Good. That's the only way that the servers on this kind of thing can even run. And it's so awesome that it does. The Nitro Boosters category has 100 people in it already. How do you see how many people are just in a Discord channel? Sorry, I'm just still scrolling through it. It's a good time. It's busy, but it's fun. Jeepers, how many people have just like symbols at the start of their name? Oh, and then the twos. I think I missed the start of this category. If you have any questions, you can like chuck them onto their Discord. They'll help like with tagging and stuff. Okay, online right now has 36,776 people. Yeah, it's a good time. But more importantly, Artfight itself is a good time. And I need to not try to scroll past 36,000 names to see how many are offline. Because using even my like free spinning mouse, we got to... Let's see how long it goes. Woo! C. Okay, how about this? Let's look at this in chat and see how far down we can scroll. Yeah, I don't know what's happening in this channel. This is the if you're not sure how to tag things, check it out channel. So anything can show up here, really. Got to K. It's still going down a little bit. Or maybe just the... No, that's not my scrolling. That's just a thing going down. Let's scroll a little more. I got one of those mice where you can, like... It's not super fancy, but it's a classic, like, Logitech one. It's been real reliable for years. But one feature it has is you can, like, set the scroll wheel to, like, a free fly wheel mode and just, like, let it run. Like, it's so fun. Like, I'm not touching anything at this point. It's just stinking going. That's S? Okay, we'll keep going. Sorry, I just really want to know how many people are on this stinking server. It's so big. Really? That only got us to T? Okay, I'm gonna flick it a few times. Let's see. Okay, we're in symbols. I think that's probably too far. Usually symbols end up before. But then again, these look like online people. Cheapers, look how many people have the same symbol in their username. Okay, no, hold on. Oh, nope, that's Z. Oh, see, there's so many people above this that, like, the border is going to be moving way too fast to read. Where's the edge? Where's our edge? There's Z's. More Z's. Oh, no. I can't even tell if there... I don't think there even is, like, a section header for that. Which means maybe we need to go further down? But how much further down? Oh, boy. Every single, like, emoji available on Discord seems to have be represented somewhere in this list. Holy cow. No, freewheel, let's go. Let's go. Fight it. Fight it. Oh, I'm at the bottom of, like, the loading now. Oh, jeepers. I don't think we're going to reach this. The point is, it's like 160, 180,000 people in here. It's a lot. It's a fun time. Yeah, I don't think we're going to have any luck with getting anything useful out of this. But, you know, they say like 90% of scrollers stop one scroll before they reach the bottom. I can't even tell if I'm at the bottom or if it's like loading more or if these are just the constant like change. Perhaps we scrolled past the offline, but these look like they're online. Oh, whatever. There's no way. There's no way to figure this out. There's no hope. Several people are typing, always. Yeah, hopefully the site is doing better. We'll see. But yeah, if you haven't checked out some Artfight stuff yet, it's a lot of fun. We've got it. I've got it linked in the somewhere around here. Stream Elements doesn't look like it's showing up in the chat, but it's, you know, it's there. We got the link. You can also get to it through my website, which is in the channel description. Not to plug, but also kind of to plug, you know. And yeah, I mean, it's not like I make any money off this. It's just jump in if you want to have fun and say hi. Or if you want to criticize my art, like thinking, knock yourself out. But yeah, so what we were going to do, in excitement for that art fight, as it gets closer and the site itself kind of lags from the sheer number of people involved at this point. Seriously, I was like refreshing like every minute, and there'd be a whole swath of like 8 newly submitted characters since the previous one. Sometimes more. Like I was going through the new characters list, and I hit next page, and so many new things had been submitted that it was almost identical to the previous page I'd been on, except for like the bottom 3. I was like, okay, guess we're gonna have to check this later. Because so many things are getting added. But it's a lot of fun, and there's so many people on there who are just willing to go and do stuff. And like, so many cool art styles, so many interesting ideas. There's 2 teams. There's the vampires and the werewolves, which is kind of the classic thing. I'm just realizing that their color schemes are very similar to Scarlet and Violet. I think the werewolves are a little more blue than purple. And I'm debating... My decision, for the record, it might be dependent on what my friends choose, but it will probably be dependent on... how do I put this? Which color would look like a better border around my profile. Which is silly, but like it's not like I have anything else to base it on. Okay. Did I hit new layer instead of clip layer? What am I doing? Okay. So, what we're going to do is, much like last time, we're going to figure out where our light source is. And we're going to go with that. And then we're going to figure out where all the shadows go, all the highlights go, and go from there. So, with salt, for the record, we can always check out our salt reference. We're getting closer and closer. Each time we look at salt, it's like closer in style and like finishedness than it was. Although, I mean, there's still some style discrepancies, but let it never be said I have a consistent art style, because cheapers, I don't. But that's fun. We're still experimenting. We're still getting the hang of things, testing things out. We're not at the point where it makes sense to have a consistent style yet. I don't want to lock in on some of these ideas too soon, without getting to experiment with variety and like learn new things that could ultimately merge into a better style than any of the predecessors. And I mean, it's not like style something that has to be concrete. It can evolve over time. I'm talking really fast. Sorry, I've got a little energy again. Wow, I am talking really stinking fast. Let's take a slow down for a second and actually think about what we're looking at rather than just talking to fill airtime. So first salt, we ran into the issue of an overhead light would cast the worst shadows on the face because of the hat. We probably won't run into the same degree of issue with Olivine. Maybe a little bit. We'll see. But it wouldn't hurt to have a light source that is sort of... we could sort of do, like... Do we want to do directly above, though? That'd be a little bit bland. I'm thinking, like, above the face and, like, forward a little bit so that we're getting light, like, pointing... Whoa, okay, hold on. So we're getting light, like, pointing at the face. That's not the best arrow. The point is, I want to have the face illuminated. Above is generally a pretty good way to do it. I do want to like try to shift it a little bit to one side, though. The question is which side. Now, it feels like it would make sense to have the front view better lit, just because that's kind of the priority for people drawing, most likely. They're not going to care nearly so much about the reverse. But, on the flip side, if we wanted to glint off the shield more, it could be fun to do that. And instead have a light that's more on the back, have her walking towards the darkness, which would be some vague, ominous symbolism that probably doesn't fit the story at all. So, I think what I'm going to aim for, honestly, is a fairly well-lit... Well... I've sort of chosen a slightly... The only awkwardness of this pose... Well, there's a little bit with the feet, but... The awkwardness with this pose as a character sheet pose as opposed to just an art pose... That's a lot of pose in opposition. Is that we've kind of chosen a view that doesn't highlight the more dramatic parts. Like, this is sort of the eye-catching part of this costume, and it's facing away from us. The shield design, while not permanent, is... Actually... I'm kind of happy with how that turned out for improv. But it's also, like not facing the front view either. That said, I still think a front view light source would be decent, and I don't think it'd be terrible to put it more camera side, so we get kind of, not, I guess rim shadows, that's not the right word for it, but kind of like that. On the flip side, we could put it up. Like, instead of being in line with the center of the character, we could shift it slightly over, have our light source there. That's probably not the best color choice to represent light source, but that one's not visible, so... There we go. Point is, so it'd be slightly, from our perspective, it'd be slightly to the left of her face. Although if we really want this view illuminated in a way that it's sort of like, we make it look like we've got the light source on our side, be better for the pauldron, be better for the leggings, slightly worse for the shield, but that's fine. Shield's not really the focal point, as much as I kind of, like, it probably ought to be at some point, it ain't yet. This should probably come further back, but I'm not going to mess with it for right now. Actually, I'm going to mess with it a tiny bit. And then I think, yeah, we're just going to have to do the light source. It can be between us, like between the viewer and Olivine, and slightly to the left. That way we'll still get some interesting shadows, we'll still get some interesting highlights on things. It won't be so far to the left that this whole like side of the body's in shadow. Yeah, I think that's probably our best bet. So let's put salt away for now. You're about to see how I do shadows, if you haven't already, which is silly. It's not. It works. But, like, I don't know, there's so many tools that are designed to make shadows easier that I should probably use. Okay, and then the only thing that would affect in terms of color is this. On our base values. Nope, not that. Oop, nope. Maybe we just use a brush for this. Boop. 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 There we go. Thought that was just a hair darker. Yeah. This is so nitpicky. Should not bother with it. I'm almost certainly just going to make it worse than it was. Good enough. And I just felt like this should have some level of continuity over there. It's kind of a silly shape as it is because it's mostly decorative on top of the existing gambeson, but it'll do. It'll do. Because that's a shielded site anyway. That's like the one that you don't need as much gambeson on. Which actually kind of works out with the real design. Chainmail under it, of course, doing the heavy lifting and being the heaviest to lift. Okay, that's enough talking. Let's actually get to shadows. Thinking about their location. I want to do some things that are going to be broad and easy to see so that it'll make it easier for me to make the other shadows relative to it. Okay, so that's this one. So we'll go just a hair darker for this shadow. And if the light's up there, then we're going to get, like, we're going to start getting a little bit of, a little bit of shadow underneath this. And I have, wow. My sense of where the pen is just not great at the moment. Come on, pen, work with me. Again, this doesn't need to be anything crazy. It's not like it's that high lifted off of it. We can always erase with this if we want to maintain our texture. Whoops. Okay. We can grab it on the chainmail, and this is an interesting opportunity, actually. So there's our chainmail color. Matched, one darker. But yeah, I don't use multiply layers or anything like that. I am trying to actually, like, do manual. That way I have a very set, like, value palette that I'm trying to maintain. Whereas blending layers, you end up with, like, variants and such. I'm sure there's ways to not have that be the case, but what we can do is try to imply a little bit of just a hint of, like, the chainmail texture to it. Nothing crazy, but just the suggestion that that's a slightly different material, and so the shadows are going to be hitting a slightly different surface, I think would be interesting. Now this was always one that we knew was going to have a shadow, because the entire thing is in shadow. Honestly, that one's in so much shadow I may drop it down too. Let's see, and I've got this clipped, so I don't have to worry about the border, so I can just, yeah, fill that out. Depth of the shadow could probably stand to, like, increase too, as the arc of this goes down. And since I'm just kind of fudging this and not really, like, matching an actual chainmail pattern, it might end up being a little too wonky, and we'll just have to tweak it. We'll see. Okay. Then with the light source being roughly where it is, this might cast a tiny bit of shadow on the chainmail, but it's going to be much, much less. Maybe just, like, we might even see just, like, the tiniest hint of it down here, but probably not enough to really be worth note. What we're going to see a lot more shadow from, of course, is the chainmail on the pants, which is one of the other reasons that I wanted to, well, it's one of the reasons I've only really thought of just now, but it's still a perfectly valid reason, IMO, that I wanted to sort of, like, not make these quite as dark, because the shadows are going to up that contrast something fierce. Since this is fabric, like, we could imply some folds, but I'm trying to limit textures to where they're really distinctive and matter a little bit. Like, obviously we've got some wrinkles there, but I don't want to just have this just because. And we may end up making the same choice with the chainmail. That is a rough, stinking shadow, and it looks like the old salt ref sheet, which I'm not something I want it to look like. Once again, we've got this, but because it's sort of in this... On one hand, chainmail isn't going to cast as much of a shadow as the fabric, but also, like, I don't know, it's still pretty heavily contained down there and out of the way, so we'll probably keep it dark. This maybe ought to match that, but I feel like this is going to end up being too much if we do this dark for it. Oops, let's not move the layer if we can avoid it. Going to muddle some things if we do. Come on, stay in the lines just a little bit. This is like coloring book challenge. I should probably be using the fill tool for this, truth be told. But I don't know. As much as the fill tool is efficient and actually an absolute lifesaver on some things, there is something so satisfying about actually just sketching these in. That'll do. Alright, take a moment to reorient. Where's my light source? Above and between. Above and between. I'm going to get some interesting light from that. Should be fun. But it does mean that I need to think about how stuff's going to be getting cast, especially with this section down here, because it's a hair more complicated. Right, that's this one. Okay, cool. And we can add just that little hint of shadow, because I do want these to have depth, but that top one is just not going to have much in the way of shadows cast on it. I like the implication that the centerpiece is a little bit more raised than the other two. So this center bar here is higher than the others. That's also going to affect this gemstone. Nope, that should be right. You say gemstone, it might just be a metallic decoration. Even I'm not entirely sure what role it's going to ultimately end up playing. Oops, nope, that's too much shadow for this. We can, like, make it down just a notch. Doesn't need to be anything insane. Yeah, just a little bit there. And we'll probably get, like... I don't know if we'll get much shadow on this. It'd be like a really soft shadow, like maybe just a little bit at the bottom here. And even then, it feels like it'd be more like that. Just super basic. Unlike these two pieces, which we've been neglecting up to this point, which are going to be in an awful lot more shadow from all of these things, really. Partly from the angle, partly just from where it is. That said, it feels like this one really only be casting below it and not behind it, given the angle of the sun. I'm going to finish that out a little bit, and then we'll bring it back just a notch. Bring it down a little more just to really emphasize the height of the sun compared to this. And finally, more pants wrinkles. Anything where it's like bending down like this probably ought to have a little bit of shadow going on to it. Anything below this definitely should as well. While there maybe would be wrinkles there, I don't want to do that particular detail with the shadows. There's other stuff that we are going to do with the shadows, other details that are really best done with the shadows. But that's not one of them. The sun's up there, and like honestly we should have something of an arcing shadow just like all the way through this too. Trying to think how this wrinkle is going to play with these. And again, we sort of established there wouldn't be too much above shadow on this, so I probably ought to chill on that. But then on the flip side, it's definitely still in this underneath category, so that much at least should have shadow. That might be too much, but it feels like it ought to be there. Hey, May, how are you? Let's see. I'm starting on the shading for this Artfight character sheet. We'll see how it goes. Chillin', that's a good way to be spending a Tuesday evening. Oh, thanks, Galactic Tragedy. Welcome. If you haven't stopped by before, we are doing some Artfight prep. We've only got, if you count today, 4 days before it starts, so I'm trying to get everything up and running. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, otherwise, it's gonna be a fairly chill stream. I'm debating. There's two things that I'm sort of waiting before I can choose a team. It's really tempting. But one, I kind of want to see if my friends are leaning towards anything, so we can maybe do opposite teams and do some better attacks that way. But also, I'm not gonna lie. If one of them ends up making like a much better profile color border than the other, I may just choose because of that, which is a dumb reason, but it's tempting. Do you have one in mind? I'm happy to try to do like same or opposite teams with people. I'll be honest, I'm not like gonna be the biggest point getter. I'm still a fairly slow artist, and so I don't like rack up points for a team. So I'm mostly here to have fun. What's going on with this bit here? Did I? I don't know what's up with that. Werewolf, yeah, Werewolf's a fun team. Werewolves and vampires, it's such a throwback. I wasn't expecting them to go with that one. Ooh, okay, we've already got a mix. I mean, if you want to. Obviously, no pressure. You don't want Artfight to turn into homework. That's not fun for anyone. But if you feel like joining, like, by all means, because it's a lot of fun. Let's see, vampire and werewolf. Well, it sounds like that hasn't narrowed down my choice at all. Because the challenge is, like, it's tempting. You kind of want to be on the opposite team from your friends, which is a little weird. Oh, please do. Yeah, I've got it. Actually, I think I've got it pulled up here if you want. You want to catch me on there? I am always down to see what other people are doing. It's just fun. It's a fun way to see other people's characters, see other people's art styles, like. And look, I'm not gonna lie. It's also a fun chance to like get art of your characters. There's rare opportunities. Now you have to sort of give in kind and also do attacks and defenses and stuff, which is what makes it fair. But it's so fun to see like characters that wouldn't get much love otherwise. Because I saw, oh dang, I'm gonna have to find it again. I saw one character on there where it was a hex bug, like those old little plastic toys that like Bristlebot style rattle around like a course. And they had a hex bug OC, and that is so unique. I've never seen anything. I would never even thought of that, and so I love stuff like that. You don't run across that other places. I know, it's stinking adorable, and it looks so sassy. It was very fun. Yeah, birthday in July does complicate it, and I'm stinking torn because my family may be doing some summer travel in July, and so I'm going to go with them, and so that's probably going to be like a week that I'm mostly out of commission. So I'm like, ugh. But hey, Great Dame, do you know what team you're going to do? I mean, I can probably guess. But, man, if they had a Team Hexbug, I would join that one in a heartbeat. Okay, you want me to guess? I'm guessing Werewolf. Both of them, I could see either for you, but I'm guessing Werewolf. Yeah, I actually started streaming in the middle of Artfight last year. That was when I kicked it off, so the streamiversary is coming up. Le gasp, the furries. As if I judge. Dude, I have known too many furries in real life who are all just lovely people. I'm not gonna stink and judge people for that. But yeah, no, I'm still torn on my team. I have no idea which one I'm gonna do. Yes, you are, but also, let's not forget that Fiax definitely belongs in both categories. If we want to talk about old OCs. But yeah, no, Team Blep. Team Blep would be a good team. I'm torn. I was Team Bloom last year, so I've got like a win streak to keep that I totally earned. It didn't, wasn't coasting off of the like tens of millions of points that both teams scored. The scores get so high on that. Like, if you go in it to be competitive, it's got to be tense because the scores fluctuate constantly. But it's fun. Okay, hold on. I feel like that whole back leg needs to be generally in more shadow from like all the stuff happening up here. Yes, the blah blah blahs. A noble team as well. Let's see. But no, I can't wait. I'm already just like browsing on there. Well, werewolves don't have to be... I guess werewolves do. Furries in general don't. I'll be honest, I conflated Team Werewolf and Team Furry in my head. I didn't even think about it. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, Fiax could be more vampire than dog. Team Fangs. Okay, let's see. Might be like a little more visible there. I'm just kind of winging it on the shadow. It's not really a focal point. But it's just going to be distracting if it's too bad. I'm hoping to have at least 3 ready for the time it starts. We're on character sheet number 2. You've seen Salt's already updated. We've got Olivine. And then the third one, if I can finish it, it's still in like early sketch mode. But I don't know if you remember Peta, another D&D NPC. The old Harpy from Oxbow. And I'd love to get a character sheet for her going sometime. Just think it'd be fun. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see if I have time, because, again, there's like 4 days left, and we haven't even finished with the second one. So I make no promises, but I have hopes. Well... Oh, yeah, dude, Well, I guess with my new group, I can't complain about being a forever DM anymore, but I was a forever DM for a long time. Many, many years. Yeah, no, I've played D&D for over a decade at this point. It's a fun game. Let's see, maybe we just... How do we want to do this? Some of this would be in the light, surely, right? But with the sun over there... maybe a little bit. Dude, it's just through trial and error. My early... You only think I'm a good DM because you didn't see my early campaigns. Like, it just practice makes it happen. Ah, Strahd. Yeah. I've heard so many good things about Strahd. I've not actually played that one. That one, it sounds like it's a lot of fun. Although, unless I'm mistaken, that'd be a good candidate for Team Vampire. Oh yeah, yeah. If your uni has a D&D club, like, knock yourself out. Strahd should be a blast. One of my coworkers is a DM, and they're playing through... Oh, what's it called? Is it Ravenholm? I never remember the exact name of it. With, as always, a wonderful mess of a party. But yeah, no, there's so many fun campaigns. Of course, I have the bad habit, and I've been having to lay off of it, of going too far homebrew. Or with this most recent campaign that's gone better than some of the past ones, it's... how do I even describe this? I took like 6 different unrelated modules from Kickstarter and like put them in a blender. And that's what we have. Plus a bunch of homebrew nonsense of my own creation, of course, because I couldn't fully let it go. Honestly, that one's mostly just messy because they're all, like, adults with jobs and the scheduling gets terrible. But it's messy is fun. As long as it's messy where people are having fun. That's the challenge. If it's messy because people are like angry outside of the campaign, that is no longer enjoyable. Let's see. 10-year-old gnome, 2 dwarves, a secret changeling, an elf, an Asimir, and a triton. Oh, you got a big group going. Oh, that's fun. Oh, that's fun. And your dad's the DM too? Oh, that's got to be a stinking blast. That is true, yeah. Homebrew adds a lot of flexibility. Sometimes for the better, sometimes not. But yeah, dang, that's quite the party. Actually, I was recently in a party that also had, at the very least, a dwarf and a changeling. That was a blast. And then tiefling ol' me. Thanks, the Great Dame. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna call it for now, and we'll come back to this foot later when I've got, like, I don't know. Maybe I'll look up a foot reference. I feel like I'm gonna regret looking up a foot reference. Let's see. Oh, yep, we still gotta get a little shadow here, and we'll just kind of work our way back up. This doesn't need to be anything crazy. Like a little bit of shadow there. Oh yeah, have you seen the zoomed out one? I didn't. The problem, like, I would have put the spear normally, but I was thinking to myself, wait, it completely blocks like the only good view of the leg gear, and this is a character sheet. I should probably not block the only good view of the leg gear. Why can't I just do a stinking T-pose? But no, they've all got to be exciting and in character with their poses, so... Oh, dang, yes, that's a fun setup, the secret change. Ooh. Oh, that'll be a lot of fun. Let's see. I feel like that's one too dark. On the shadow layer, right? Good. Yes. Sticktacular. Okay, we got good light coming on that side. Man, we're not going to have a whole lot of shadows on this piece at all from this view. A little more from the back, that'll be good. Okay, light source. Let's... I don't want to deal with the face yet. Let's go over here first. This is where we can... Well, this, I guess, is where we really decide how much curve this shield actually has. The light source is there, and we were saying it's like somewhat between us. Well, yeah, it would have to be with these shadows. Then most of that's going to be pretty stinking flatly illuminated, dagnabbit. Okay. So much for using shadows to give the shield shape. Let's see. Got a little bit of light. We can still work with this. No, I mean, this whole side's just going to be bright with a big old highlight through, like, the middle. Yeah, I hope that reveal pays off. That's fun. I had... Oh, jeepers. I had a campaign where the enemies were, like, a changeling army. It was a lot of fun, because it leads to a lot of fun intrigue opportunities. But, like... One of the players at some point concluded that one of the other players was a changeling when they weren't, and that did not go well. That went very poorly. It was a lot of fun until the party infighting started due to paranoia. And due to one of the characters just really, really wanting to stab the other character. But you know, what you gonna do? Yeah, Scopic, as much as it's a cool design, that description is also, like, almost unintelligible. You have so much homebrew stuff in there, and so many different guidebooks. But it's been a really fun character, I gotta say. grab this. I think that, yeah, okay, cool. Get like a little bit, but like there's so little stinking room for shadow on this with this angle. Oh man. Yeah, the cloak is great. Ah. Then the mystery just has to continue. Only way of it. Actually, hold on. If we want to do this smart, I'm gonna put the shadow on this side where the finger. Yeah, okay. We'll leave that. Actually, hold on. Things facing down may still be somewhat out of the sun, so we might be able to get like a little bit on the knuckles too. And maybe we can sneak in a tiny bit of shadow on the top of the shield. We can fudge it a little bit. Yeah, given how long you've been prepping for that, I was wondering. But, you know, there's still opportunity for that discussion, I suppose. Maybe. We'll see. No, none whatsoever. Gary's totally got a healthy relationship on that front. Oh, hold on. We can use shadows to give a tiny bit of depth to this, because we did talk about this being like actually like reinforcement on it, so we could get just a tiny little bit under shadow on this. Ooh. Get my shadows after all, even just like a little bit. I mean, y'all had a conversation then too. Oh, that's right. You're still. Oh, jeepers. Good old Casimir. I'm sure he'll show up in the campaign again, definitely. But yeah, it's... Y'all have many, many funky things happening ahead. Oh, Scopic, really covering your bases there, aren't you? He's dead, or he isn't. It's fair, though. Unless he's dead and evil. Oh no. We need to stop before the conspiracy theories about Casimir get out of hand and he gets murdered on sight after doing nothing. Or was it nothing? But Great Dame, how long are you feeling like doing Artfight? Like, how many characters are you throwing on there? Or are you planning to do it this year? I realize I shouldn't assume that. I'm hoping so. It's fun. Let's see. Yeah, Art Block does throw a wrench in pretty much any plan, don't it? But hopefully, it'd be fun to have you again. Oh, jeepers. I've already been going through and like bookmarking characters I see. I'm never gonna have time to do all the ones I've already excited to do. Like, oh no. I'm gonna have to do some on stream and like see if I have time to do some off stream, which is not a given, but it's a hope. Let's see, we can still... Oh, this one. And sneak in a tiny bit of shadow still. A little bit right there. Aye, that's fair. Some people throw so many on there, and I'm like, I don't have time to prepare this many character sheets. Because I don't, like, I'm bad about not normally making character sheets for my characters, just at all, ever. I just don't think to. So, like, whenever Artfight comes around, it's just a scramble. What happened to Peppa, anyway? Let's see. Oh, that's right. I should have guessed, honestly. Honestly. Like, that's on me. Okay, hold on. Sun position matters a lot more. Okay, hold on. There we go. A lot more for the face. Above and slightly in front. That's going to make pretty small shadows, but still some on this. And let's keep up with... Okay, hold on. Nope. Okay. This is our skin tone. Cool. It's been a long time in the plans, so... I'm, a little easier when it was already on my to-do list for a while. I got through the procrastinating already. Let's see. Oops, just a tiny bit of shadow on this. We're still in the shadows layer, right? Good, 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 good. Okay. Now, this will be interesting, and do I even bother with the shadows on this part? Because, like, I don't know, they're just really minute. Some of them are really tiny. Like a little bit there. We'll be going with that. Okay, let's see how that's looking. I don't know if it did much, but it's a little something. Yeah. Man, I have so many, like, stinking... Not so many, but I've still got unfinished campaigns, and it still stings a little bit. I'm like, oh, I'd like to finish that, but well, for starters, I don't have the time I used to. But also, it's just... It's hard once it's been on hiatus long enough, you know? Like, group dynamics change, and it gets complicated. Need to make sure that these are all the same. Guess that one was just already filled the wrong color. That's fine. Okay, and then we got this pattern. Why did it make all these so complicated? Yeah. Well, and it's harder too, because a lot of the earlier campaigns, like, they were before I was really, like, coming up with proper character personalities, and so it's more of like a collection of character traits than like a coherent personality. So there's not really, like, whoops, the story motive to keep them going. It's just that I have, like, nostalgia for the campaign moments it's themselves. But yeah, that makes sense. Either, like, leave it where it was before, or okay, yeah. I mean, technically, one campaign that we're super... It's been a long time since we played it, and the DM's gone to, like, law school or medical school or something like that. I will keep it vague because this is the internet, and I don't want to actually, like, reveal everything about them, but like, I don't know that they're going to have time to DM it or the interest to again. But the characters are stuck on an island that's, like, time-locked, so canonically it's not the worst place to try to pick it up again after actual real-world years and years and years. Hold on. If this had shadow, where would it even go? No. I'm overthinking the heck out of this. I need to just leave it. Leave it be. Yeah. You've got theories built off Bope? Good luck, mate. I'm just teasing. Yeah, it's a really, like, narratively, it's an interesting place to be. Behind the scenes, we were still way too low level to get to the final boss, and the DM was trying to get us caught up, and then we messed up a series of checks and all got, like, paralyzed for a long time. But the island itself is also kind of in a time lock. And it was also slightly necessary because our boat super sank, and it was only kind of our fault. I'll be honest, the flaming shark portal probably didn't help things. I was not a good wizard. To be fair, the sharks being on fire was my fault, and that being in the boat was also kind of my fault, but the portal was to get them out of the boat, so that was at least helping. Oh, jeepers. You know, maybe my campaigns have always been a little bit off the rails. I'm granted, most D&D campaigns are. Those were fun, though. How are we doing on shadows? There's probably more I need to think about on the face, and there's almost certainly more I need to think about on, like, the actual hair piece. Oh! Her name is Olivine. I swear we'll get her face shape right one of these days. Yeah, and another of the mineral crew. This is sort of in, like, non-D&D settings, she's kind of Salt's foil. So the very much wants something like orderly and proper and, like, kind of stick in the mud paladin-y type. To contrast Salt's, how would we describe that? Manic alchemist vibe? So she's fun, but the party would drive her up a wall. And you probably won't run into her stinking scrounging around in the wilderness quite like you do with Salt. What did I... Wrong button entirely. That was a tiny hexagon I drew. But yeah, no, I'm excited to finally get, like, a proper character sheet for her. Oh, y'all have got to be more careful with rings. The ring of bureaucracy is already... Actually, it was net beneficial, but it sounds like this one's been slightly less good. By the way, pro DM tips, never give your players the Ring of Sauron. Or, like, any of the Rings of Power. Even without the invisibility feature, my campaign was entirely too clever with it. And, very quickly dealt with an awful lot of enemies by pickpocketing it onto them. And then causing them to have breakdowns. It, was slightly too powerful, maybe. But yeah, it sounds like Yeah, yeah. Kudos for creativity. I for one am a big fan of letting people just giving them random things and seeing what they can come up with for it. And like it makes things fun because you don't get the same old just like normal combat. You get like someone using a cantrip to cause an avalanche by making a loud noise, or someone figuring out how to jerry-rig glitter into a smoke bomb, or random nonsense like that, and it's a lot of fun. Although it sounds like y'all have a slightly different challenge going on with the hunt being that has been put on you. Oh no, have I been on base values this whole time? Okay, wait. Rats. Okay, we can fix that. Oh, that's right! That's... We only even made it through the portal. We were more dangerous than anything in, like, any actual, like, problems in that campaign, aren't we? We're, like, the bigger problems. Like, not that other stuff can't kill us, but, like, in terms of, like, if you're a citizen, we're a bigger problem. I'm 100% down with a mayo jug, like, to just blind people. That's amazing. And achievable with medieval tech. Mayo, very much accessible. Okay, now I need to fix the base values real quick, but that's easier. Yeah, no, I have a long history of giving people random junk. Pocket sand and pocket mayo, yes! I mean, if someone threw a jar of mayo at me, it would give them advantage. I would not know how to react to that. Even if it didn't hit me, I'm not sure I'd know how to react to that. It's infused with egg. Yeah, that's probably fair. But I mean, like, and it's not like it's all original. Like, I'm gonna, like, the Ring of Fire Detection Touch, which I've used in both of y'all's campaigns, actually, isn't supposed to be useful, but y'all keep getting clever with it. But, like, I don't know, I'd throw stuff at you, and it wouldn't be useful if y'all weren't creative about it. I'm still skeptical about the net benefit of the Ring of Fire Detection range touch. Like, is it really that helpful? I'm spending too much time on that. Let's move on to something else that needs actual, like, noticeable shadows. Yeah, I do like the Ring of Bureaucracy. That one's original. Or if it's not fully original, I've adapted it enough at this point that it counts as parody. It means you have to be... Well, I guess it technically just means the ring has to be touching whatever it is in order for the spell to work. So, like, you can't cast it at a distance. It doesn't technically mean that you have to be wearing it, I suppose. Although I'm sure in most actual D&D handbooks it absolutely means you have to be wearing it. But, I don't know, if you want to chuck that thing at every campfire you see and then have to figure out how to fish it out, be my guest. Like, that seems way more fun. And like a terrible idea, but a very fun, terrible idea. I gave you a free table. When did I give you a free table? I'm not doubting you. It sounds like the kind of nonsense I would give my players. Oh, that's right! The banquet! I forgot about the banquet ring. That one... Okay, that one wasn't... Most of these are, like, things that I've found on the internet and then adapted. The banquet ring is, I think, supposed to be like a one-time use wand where you can summon a banquet, but I just gave people a ring where if you chuck it at the ground, it explodes into a banquet. And then there's the Cloak of Dramatic Entrances is unfortunately not original, entirely not original. That one just exists. It's a cloak where if you wear it and pass through a doorway, like trumpets sound and doves fly out from behind you. The perfect gift for your local neighborhood rogue when you're tired of them wandering off. Yeah, I wish I'd come up with that one. That one's so fun. By the way, if y'all want more nonsense magic items in the Oxbow campaign, you should definitely go back to the door. There's plenty more rings, just like the Ring of Bureaucracy in how useful they are. That is to say, I thought they'd be useless, and y'all somehow beat a boss with them. So, anything goes. Yeah. Okay, let's see if light source. Hold on. Light source is up, but between us, so the head won't cast that much shadow, really. Like a little bit, I guess. This just feels like it needs a little something for texture anyway, so... I'm not opposed to an excuse to, like, just continue this down a little bit. Oh, are they actually making that movie? Ah, dang. Well, we'll see how it goes. That reminds me of the stinking... I don't know if y'all ever watched the Banana Splits as a kid. I am stinking dating myself with that reference for the record. But it's basically like back when people did like animatronic type full character suit shows, non-ironically or spooky, it was just a thing. But like the rights got sold and they made a horror movie out of it. Be like if someone made a Teletubbies horror movie. Like, yeah, I can see where you'd get the idea, but like that was someone's childhood. But FNAF, I mean, it makes sense. It's a logical candidate for this sort of thing. And the trailer looks good? Well, that gives me hope, given that the last FNAF game did not exactly get 5 stars. But hopefully that'll be fun. I still don't have the nerve for spooky stuff. If I play games on here, you're gonna be finding stinking like, well, I guess Elden Ring, but also like Stardew Valley and stuff like that. I respect the heck out of people who can actually like play FNAF, but I don't have the nerve for it. Oh hey, yeah. That's not too long a wait at all. Whoa. I'm on the base values layer again. No! Okay, not too much this time. Just a little bit. But I caught that. Ooh, okay. Let's try this again, shall we? I almost did the exact same thing again. Shadow layer. Still shadow layer. Okay. I need to cool the curve on this a little bit more. Yeah, that's probably better. Yeah, I don't know. I assume you need to have original characters of some sort. Although I guess, well, I think you probably have to have at least one, so that if you do attacks, people can do attacks back. I don't know, I'd have to check the rules. It doesn't have to be, like, good. That's certainly not a requirement. It's very much open to any skill level. Okay, you do have to have at least one. That makes sense. That's not to say you can't, like, do fan art of someone's character and then just send it to them. Like, most people have, like, Discords or Twitters or some such listed in their bio. So if you feel like just drawing characters or stuff, then, like, you can knock yourself out. It's been like a year since I've read through the rules. I probably ought to freshen up on those. Just a little bit. Yeah, I'd assume, because, like, defenses are such a big part of it, I'd assume they wouldn't want people attacking when they couldn't be attacked back. Like, it's not like the competition is, like, the biggest deal, but they do still have to try to keep it fair. Oh, huh, that's on the base layer. How did that happen? Right, now let's go back to the shadow layer before things get complicated. Yeah, that makes sense that you can't do fan art of, like, canonical fandoms. Okay, refresh. Where's the sun? In front, but about that height. Okay. Now we're gonna get some interesting shadows, finally. That's right, you made it on August 1st. I mean, look, I didn't start making the character sheet until, like, week 3, or at least it wasn't posted until week 3. So, like, yeah, you can get into it pretty late. Now, I do like the idea of you posting the character sheet, like, at 12:59 on the 31st and being like, character now open. That would be great. Yeah, that's true. I still don't fully understand the mechanics behind revenge trains. Like, do more than 2 people need to be involved for those to happen, or is it just for, like, 2 people who go back and forth? It's like the multiplayer, that's the wrong word for it, but the, like, more than 2 people structure things still I don't fully understand. Okay, and then highlights. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense if it's between 2 people. I just know some people do, like, group attacks where you put, like, 15 characters in a piece, and then I can only imagine the revenge trains from things like that get messy. Fun, but, like, complicated. Oh, wait, no, actually, I can just sort of... That's the wrong layer. This layer. There we go. There we go, nice sharp edge. Okay, let's see. Front and ahead, we can get some interesting highlights on this. And I'm sure my shadows are a little off, but wait, no, this. Let's see if it's metallic. I'm actually going to up 2 for the highlight. That's not the right color. So light source there and in front, I feel like we'd get a nice strong highlight, like kind of through the middle and then over on this, like a little bit. I don't know why that's what my gut's telling me when I think it should probably be more over here, but... Oh, but the sun's not centered. I don't know. As much as Artfight stuff can get a little tricky, like for most of the day-to-day stuff's all normal and easy to do. So it's been fun. I'm very eagerly looking forward to the next part. On the shadows. Let's get like a little bit of shadow going on here. Doesn't have to be anything crazy, just like, you know, a little bit. Even add like a tiny, well, no, that's behind the highlights there. I could add a tiny bit of depth by just like, maybe not with that eraser, but with like a little one, just giving it like an edge. We can see under. There we go. Nothing crazy, but it gives it a little texture. I feel like I've got the highlight on the shield wrong. I'm going to have to tweak that, probably. I'm going to focus... I'll be honest, I mostly just do highlights on, like, metallic things. I don't do a lot of highlights in my art. And the answer for why is can't be bothered. Like, and it's not that, like, I don't end up with highlight stuff. It's just that I'm more inclined to do 2 levels of shade and keep the original tone as the bright. But it's mostly laziness. Like, gotta be honest. It always takes longer to get these things, like, highlights and shadows and stuff added than I expect. No, that's not true. It's just taking longer this time. Let's see. And this sort of center bend is going to have more impact. I need to check WoW, because I've been having the vibe that the said headband that she can pull down into like an eye guard is reminiscent of something, but I can't for the life of me figure out what. I doubt it's Raytheon, just because I don't know, I've never played WoW and I don't have enough like WoW knowledge to really pull that off, but maybe? Wait, hold on. And the chainmail is going to be a more muted highlight. I'm only going to go like up 1 on it, and we'll keep it like kind of vague. I don't know if that's right. No, that doesn't. No. Let's focus on like maybe just like a tiny patch here. We could like sort of follow this bend a little bit. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to see the model at some point. Let me get this line sorted out in a way. Ah, no. Curve top. And slightly less warpy edge. There we go. Maybe a little too much. Maybe we like chill on that a little bit. I'll leave it for now. We can revisit if we need to. Now let me check out Raytheon, which sounds like I'm talking about like a weapons company. Oh, this is a fun character. I've never seen this dude before ever, but I like the design. There's a lot happening here. Not an all suspect red glow from the eyes. Oh, that's fun. Ah. Let's see. Well. Okay, hold on. Yeah, that one's too much, but just like a little bit of highlight on there. Accentuate the thumb a little bit. Oh yeah, well if you're a dragon, you gotta have them glowy orbs. Oh no, yeah, the new model's good too. It just, to me, this one feels a little bit more generic angsty Prince, whereas the first one, like, had a whole, I mean, it was a stinking mishmash of cultures and stuff, but it was interesting. They're both still fun designs, though. I almost wonder, like the dragons. I almost wonder if that dude inspired an Elden Ring NPC, the second version. Because there's a certain dude from House Hoslow. Yeah, it's fun hair. Don't get me wrong, I ain't complaining about the hair. Facial hair improved too. I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying it's not like a full-on glow-up. Yes. Those shoulder pads are like self-defense weapons. Okay. Now, if I'm actually thinking about this, highlight really ought to exist slightly more up. So what I'm going to do on this particular section for the highlights is literally just move it. Oh no, there's so much garbo behind it that I didn't see. Honestly, yeah, but to some extent that could just be a pose problem. Like, I don't want to judge the design too much on that. Now let's see. Let us see what we've got going on here. And more importantly, if I can make this edge a little more believable. Okay. Step one is I need to add the actual, like, shadow color. Then we can come into our highlights, grab a slightly more fine brush. Okay, then clean up like just the edge. So the edge is in shadow because it's facing a little more away. Oh, man, I've been loving the Passpartout soundtrack. That was such a fun game. I learned that there's like a bunch of different endings depending on the type of art you make, which I'd sort of like clued into a little bit from the game, but not to the degree that it actually has. I had no idea how much stuff was in there, so we may have to go back to it at some point. But also, the music has been just wonderful for these streams. I guess that is the shadow color. It's just against the highlight, it's hard to tell. Funny how contrasts be that way. Go to the actual tool I'm asking you to use, please. Dagnabbit. Yeah, it's been a mix of Passpartout and Stardew ever since I realized that those two seem to be completely chill with you using them as like stream music. And the Stardew creator has very publicly said use it for whatever, have fun, or at least for streams and such. Okay, so there's that. Some of the highlights are kind of random. I haven't fully thought it through, but it's, I think as far as highlights and shadows are concerned, unless we want to revisit the foot a little bit, but I mean, what's going to have light on it? Just like a tiny little section at the bottom here? That's just going to be distracting with the contrast. Just going to end up being something like that, which looks just right silly. And like, is a little more eye-catching than I want that to be. So I'm going to leave it the way it was. Not perfect, but it'll do. Let's see. That said, I think we're at a good stopping point. For this side, we still need to do highlights and shadows. For this one, which is going to be a very different challenge, but I think a fun one. But first, before we do that, I'm going to go take a quick restroom, drink some water break. If y'all need to do that, it's probably not a bad time to do it. Thank y'all for jumping in, and I'll be back in like just a couple minutes. I'll be right back, because this has been fun. Howdys and salutations, we are back. Sorry I missed Great Dame leaving. Rats. Oh well. But thank you all to those who stick around. Obviously, I know it's getting a little later, so if y'all need to go, by all means. But if you want to stay around, you'll get to see me realize I forgot an important step. We've actually got a little cleanup before we move on to the second phase. I can't clip the shadows, so I'm going to have to clean up all these weird borders, which is easy to do. I can't clip the highlights either, because of the way they overlap and need to interact later. We'll probably get into that a little bit later in the stream. But the long and short of it is that if I leave those clipped, well, maybe it would still layer right, but I don't think the way that I'm doing colors on top of the shadows would layer properly. Whoops. Okay, I'm going to turn down the music just a tiniest bit. As much as I enjoy it, that one was getting really loud. At least for me. If I need to adjust the music or anything, like, give me a shout. Okay, so let's see. I did this last time on Salt, too. That was kind of a neat, like, fire effect looking thing. Some interesting options we can probably pull off with this brush and then using the same brush as an eraser. Good to remember in the future if I need fire, which with Salt around is likely. Yeah, let's see. I'll clean this up. And while I clean this up, I've got one more D&D thing, but it's a little bit of a gripe. Not a gripe, but I don't know, something I miss. So context for anyone who doesn't know, I started 4th edition D&D, and as much as it has its flaws, and it does, there's some stuff in it that I just have a real soft spot for. And some of it specifically, like, mechanically, I think is actually a little better than 5th. Now, don't get me wrong. I was going back and replaying it to test nostalgia, and all of the little tiny buffs and, like, one-turn effects and stuff really stink. Like, really, really stink. They're such a pain to track. I like how much, like, the map positioning can affect things, and how much, like, strategic thought around that matters. That's fun, but, like, there were so many, like, little tiny odds and ends things. Like, remember to keep track of, like, 6 different +1 and -1 bonus buff things. That got old. But one thing I actually like, and I know that a lot of people don't like it, and it was one of the gripes people had against 4th edition, I like its magic system better. Like, I liked the way it handled spells and utility spells. I agree it could use some more flexibility and refinement, but I really actually don't like the traditional D&D, and this is going to sound stinking heretical to people, but they call it Vancian magic, where it's where you've got, like, X spells per day, and you have to prep them in the morning, and, like, you can only use the spells you prepared. I hate it. It's not that it's a bad magic system. I just find it to be an extremely boring magic system, given how overused it is. There's so many interesting magic systems and interesting ways you can do magic, and there's ways to balance it, because, like, I get it. Wizards are already super powerful. They need to be nerfed in some way, but maybe in certain campaigns you have a much better sense of what you're going to need in the next encounter, but it's always felt to me like you're just prepping random spells, and you're just like, well, hope this is useful, hope I didn't need the other one. Like, that unless you're planning, like, a long dungeon crawl and you're in the kind of campaign where you can prep this stuff way in advance and have all that foreknowledge, it just doesn't seem to add anything other than an element of randomness, which I'd rather have randomness in the spell effect than in the, oops, I guess I can't do anything today. And don't get me wrong, it's not like it's a bad system. It's been done so much, and I find it kind of dull. Yes, I mean, multi-classing gets into a whole different set of things. But that was another thing it handled differently. Like, again, don't get me wrong, the spell set system in 4E was a little more limited, and that is something that could have been worked on. But the way you could unlock spells at different levels was more like, oh, as a wizard, you have 4 spell options for this specific level. It's not like you could just pick any of the level 16 spells, but you got new spells at more levels, and you got broader strokes. I think you could hold more spells until, like, late game. So it meant you had a lot of variety. The trade-off being that at some points you had to like bail on spells from the past or decide to skip a spell in the new level. So that trade-off was still there with the Fancy, like very similar to current things and current magic in 5e and pre-magic in 3e and 3.5 and so on. But like the spell effects themselves were so interesting, and because terrain mattered, for all the problems that caused, it meant that the spell effects could have a lot more direct impact on the world and not just like direct, you do X damage. Like, there were a lot more, or at least it felt like there were a lot more things like Prismatic Spray and Wall of Flame and stuff like that. And maybe all those spells are still as they were, but like, I don't know. I liked the system. It felt like the system was easier to manage the spells, but still provided good trade-offs. The new one, it feels like there's so much stuff you have to juggle. And, like, I don't know. I have never enjoyed a wizard as much in 5e, or any caster, really, as much as I did in 4. But that may just be me. And, like, I don't know. I think a hybrid system, or, like, 4th edition still needs some improvements to really be, like, super enjoyable. I think that's something that could be improved on, but, like, I don't know. I wish they hadn't just, like, dunked the whole thing. Because there was so much about those, like, pre-paired slot things that I found to be, I don't know, just pretty fun. Now, it's not like 4e mages were weak. They definitely weren't. Oops, yeah, I need to watch my edges a little more. Actually, that could have light on it. We're getting a little late, so I'm going to try to be a little bit smarter about using the fill tool when it's actually beneficial to do so. That's going to have like double shadow on it. So yeah, I think once again we're going to get a lot of shadows in the back, which I'm cool with, honestly. Let's see, sun over there into the front. Shadows allow for a lot of fun texture. And on the magic thing, like, I'm not saying we have to go back to 4e magic, but there's so many interesting magic systems out there, and like Vancian is, maybe it's just because I've seen it so much, but it feels so bland in like admin work. Like, which I do that for my job already, and I like organizing things and planning and stuff, but wizard spells aren't fun to organize and plan, at least not the way they're set up in a lot of games. How did we handle the shadows on this one? A bit on the bottom, a bit less on the top. We can keep that going. And then definitely getting some shadows over around here. Honestly, we could probably just fill that whole section too. Getting these like really broad swath shadows. Dude, I technically started on 3.5 if you want to get into that debate, but if you want to go play 3.5, then just sinking pick up Pathfinder. Or I guess probably Pathfinder 2 at this point, although I can't vouch for how much that's changed. Pathfinder is just 3rd edition, 3.5 edition D&D, but more. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's not to badmouth Pathfinder. They've done a lot with it. But, like, I don't know. Yeah, if you jump into Pathfinder or 3.5, combat will take an eternity, sure. But the bigger thing that you're going to run into is the sheer level of complexity in planning things. Like planning character builds and stuff gets so out of hands in those games. And again, that's not inherently bad, but in my experience, it means that you kind of need players who are all coming. I feel like with Pathfinder, you need players who all have much more similar approaches to play the game. Like, you need a more homogenous party. 4th edition, I feel like you can have players that have completely different, like, play styles, and it can still work. Like, it can still end up being like, oh, okay, there's something for everyone in this. Those ones, because you need to put so much prep into the characters, anyone who's there for, like, a more lighthearted time or for a less mechanically heavy time is going to just get immediately outclassed, and then the game balance is dead. Then you're like, oh, lovely. But maybe different DMs handle that differently. There may be ways to account for it. Still, yeah, the reason 4th edition streamlined stuff so much that people complained about it is because 3rd edition was the opposite. I know it's a long D&D meme about grapple rules being a living nightmare. That kind of ended with 4th edition. And we should be much more appreciative for that than we are. Because holy cow, I've seen some of those tables. It strives for realism in a way that is less realistic than like random die rolling. It's so awful. Let's see. Is that ear even within view? Honestly, the shadow probably ought to extend even like a little further. Whoa, how did I end up on the wrong pencil? Okay, I thought I was an airbrush. Oh, the grapple rules? Oh, it was just like there were too many tables and too much random variance involved. And so it'd be like, I rolled, and like every single motion had like competing rolls, as I understand it, in at least one of the versions. So you'd end up with someone, and it's like, I don't remember if it was 3 or 3.5. It may have been like 2 or 1 or like one of the really old ones, but there were rules for like, okay, I roll to see which like limb or part I attempt to grapple, and then I roll to see if that works, and they compete to roll against it, and then counter they do the opposite, and then there's certain like successes you need in order to actually successfully hold them down. It just became like a horrible mess of like no one can control the situation effectively, and it's like takes an eternity. Yeah, they have slowly but steadily improved the grapple rolls in like every version, so they're not nearly so bad as they were now. There are still systems that like lean into the old rules and even more. There's some systems that like really are like, this is what we're here for, and like all combat becomes that. And those systems are, in my opinion, not fun to play, but some people enjoy them. Yo, nice! Nice finishing a ref. As you can see, I take an eternity to do this. I don't know, some people did enjoy them, and like, it's not like they released an edition every new year. I mean, that's... I assume it's a ref sheet, sort of like what I'm making now. If you want to share that, I'd love to see it, either like in chat or we've got a Discord if you want to chuck it in there. But obviously, you know, no pressure. I don't want to steal anyone or like put anyone at worry of their art being stolen. Our server's pretty chill, but you know, I get it. Yeah. Yeah, well, scars are complicated to do, so that's fair enough reason to procrastinate on it, honestly. That and shadow, all of this. Honestly, I can just do some fills on that. Not like I have anything to prove on this. I'm just trying to get it in a reasonable state, and the fill tool is a wonderful friend. Awesome! Let me... I'll pull it up on stream if you want me to, but I always like to ask first. Like, I don't want to pull it up if you're not comfortable with it. Oh, dang, this one looks fun. I like the constellation outfit. Ah, nice. Yeah, if you're up for it. Check this out, y'all. It's a fun one. Let's see, 16. Man, the constellation looks really good. You've got it, like, wrapping around a little bit. Nice. Oh, perfect. Which one is that? I'll admit, if it's not, like, the Dippers or Orion, I've gotten real fuzzy on my constellations. I need to re-up on that. Oh dear. Andromeda. Ooh, nice. By the way, if anyone wants to share art, we've got... It's like the most active channel on here is people just sharing art. I love seeing what people are up to. We've got so many cool ones in here. So many cool options. Just lots of neat stuff. So, like, yeah, feel free if you want to, like, post art or anything like that. Also, Scopic, am I going to regret checking the memes? I'm going to regret checking the memes. Dagnabbit. I should have known. Of course. Twitch better not get mad at me for that one. But yeah, no, this looks fun. I like the heterochromia, too. I always love looking through that. Okay, let's see if we can't. It's underpowered in some ways. It's real strong in others. It's just like you've got to kind of build to it. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, what's the other half even supposed to be, though? Warlocks should be, like, pure casters. IMO. Ooey. Okay, let's fix that. Now let's see how the shadows layer is looking, by the way. Not the worst. Got shadows where they ought to be, so that's the important part. Yeah, we'll see about this whole 1D&D thing. Like, especially after the whole weird legal mess, which isn't D&D's fault and isn't, like, the mechanics maker's fault. But, after that, I'm not, like, super keen to pick it up right away. Granted, I took a long time on 5e, too, so I'm rarely, like, a first adopter on this stuff. But even so. Oh, okay, I guess that is already like it. We're going to grab that. And let's think about if the sun's on the other side. Let's see, we had some shadow visible at the bottom. We're going to get like a lot more on this side. Ooh. Oh, I'd love to see. I'm always happy to see more characters. Like one of the best parts of Artfight and of streaming in general. Just getting to see what other people are doing. Let's see. Oh, have you not done it before? Oh, dang. Well, first off, let's throw the automated message in here. But yeah, that's basically it. You create character sheets, or you just draw your OCs and you post them, and then only in the month of July, people will make fan art of it as attacks and get points for their teams. The whole player base is randomly split into 2 teams, but you can also like choose your team if you want. There's so many players now that it's not like one person swapping or even 100 swapping is going to imbalance it in any meaningful way. But yeah, you draw a character sheet, and then during July, you draw attacks of other people, which is fan art of other people's characters, and send it to them, and they draw attacks or fan art of like your characters as revenge, or vice versa. The catch that's interesting is it really works for all skill levels because, yeah, I mean honestly, seriously, there's probably some on there already, but you could go jump in the bird plague doctor community. But like it works for all skill levels because different art, like the more detail, the more quality, and not even quality, but like they have some objective measures of effort that they use that are imperfect but pretty good. And like that way, if you put in and like do a full body art piece with background and like all of the details and everything, you'll get more points than someone who just does a headshot. But if you want to just do like headshots of your friend's art, you can do that too, and then you're still contributing to the team in a meaningful way. Like it's pretty accessible. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, you can probably find like a whole flock of plague doctors on there. There we go. We'll keep like a little extra shadow down there just for these ones. Good. I had to just do that double check, like make sure I'm on the shadow layer, right? I am. We're all good. Like deeper shadows in here because it's fun, but also because I'm getting a little caught up on details because we're getting late at night and I do that. Oh, nice. Okay, yeah, let's check them out. Gotta see these. Let's see, we've got Comet. Ooh, okay. We've got Sirius. And we've got Benji. Oh, okay, wings. That'll be fun. And then I like the asymmetrical pants design on this one. Oh, man. Man, I wish I'd started drawing earlier. I love seeing, like, all of these designs. These are so fun. Ooh, okay, that explains the bone wings. Nice. Had to get the age fix. Fun, yeah. Oh man, it's. I love that. I love seeing all the art. Yeah, werewolves is a slightly harder challenge. There's a lot more going on with animal designs. They get complicated. They're fun though. They're worth it. And I think this should probably like, whoops, not that far up. But it should continue up. Like at the very least, shadow cast by the head and neck is going to be going on there. Ooh. By the time the day gets here, you'll be ready. Or by the time you're done drawing it, you'll be ready. Like that's the fun thing about art is inherently by attempting it, you get better. I mean, it's like you can practice wrong and develop some bad habits, but you're not going to get like overall terrible as an artist just because you practiced a little bit. Like just the only way to get really bad at art is to stop doing art. or like to stop trying. So as long as you're like putting effort into it, you'll keep getting better. I guess you can do like full on, like you're doing it entirely for profit and you hate the art you're doing, then you're probably like not going to be getting much better. But even then, like if you're having to do it enough, you're still going to pick up some skills. Maybe despite your best efforts. Yeah. Yeah, that's not a bad idea to do some like werewolf attacks if you want to get better at those skills. And like, I don't know, it's not like the time to submit art ends as soon as Artfight begins. Like last year I was submitting character sheets on like week 3, like I was saying. So like you absolutely like if you have the inspiration, you suddenly feel like doing it, just like go for it. Seriously, I didn't have any characters posted to the site until like the 13th. It was terrible. Why wouldn't there be a wereshark? And I guess I'm just kind of dropping the weird texture for the chainmail. It's really just not that important, and it didn't look that good, so that's fine. Grab a little bit of this, and that's going to catch most of this section, though not quite all of it. Oh yes, everybody loves a good warehouse. The house isn't haunted, it just has lycanthropy. And really, really loves storing boxes. Sorry, that pun always gets me. I don't know why. That would be terrible. Like you wake up and it's like wandered somewhere in the night, and like your house still looks the same. It's just somewhere else and like full of like packaging, like those little plastic packing peanuts from all of the shipments. It would be the worst. If the sun is over there, then this is still going to be mostly in shadow. Why did I think that would do anything? I need to catch a shade darker, perhaps. There we go. There was that old movie Monster House, which frankly, it was like early mocap stuff, so it was really stinking creepy. Was not a fan of Monster House. Yeah, I can totally Scopic. I can totally see you enjoying it, like just because we have very different like vibes of what we enjoy. But that one, I felt like it was less creepy because of like what it was, and more creepy because of how they animated it. Which, I mean, isn't a failure. They wanted it to be creepy, and they succeeded. I was like, ooh. Yeah, I will give them props for that. It was very, very clever. And used the mocap to its strength rather than Polar Express, which was a similar style, and actually the same studio, I'm pretty sure, and which used the mocap but looked creepy even though it was trying to be a happy children's film. I know a lot of people like Polar Express. It still scares me. Oh yeah, lots of... yeah. Like, and it's not like Polar Express is only creepy because it's mocap. They also have that weird, like, clown doll train car scene. I don't know what that was about. Like, as a kid, I was so confused about that movie because people would put it on and be like, look at this happy, like, exciting, discovering the joys of Christmas. And then I'd just be in there like, what is happening? There's clowns and, like, a dude living on top of the train that's really scary. And there's rules where you have to, like, only drink hot cocoa. Actually, the thing that got me the most as a kid, because I was a very picky eater and I hated when my hot cocoa was scalding hot, I kind of liked it lukewarm. Just because I don't know. That was just me. That was how I was. And so when they said the only rule is that you have to drink it while it's hot, I was like, well, I guess I'm just not allowed on the Happy Christmas train. And then there were the clown dolls, and I was like, oh, I'm fine not being on the Happy Christmas train. But yeah, I don't know why. That movie works for so many people. I don't know why it never clicked with me. I'm glad people enjoy it. Like, genuinely. Yeah, like, I don't know, if it's so hot that you just taste, like, pain and not chocolate, what's even the point? Like, I'm not saying I want it, like, refrigerated. But, like, I don't know, it doesn't need to be scalding. I can have, like, layers of shadow, and we can still get a little bit of depth in this shield, darn it. Just a little bit. Let's see. I should just fill tool for this little bit too. Honestly, yeah, that's probably the sweet spot. Is it's not like, I guess the word for that would be full warm or just warm. But that's fair. Oh yeah, the Polar Express as a train was a stinking death trap. But like, I don't know, you kind of overlook that. I don't know why you overlook that, but everyone does. Like, oh, they like almost died a lot. What am I even doing with the shadow? It doesn't really make sense with the light source. I'm just adding it for depth and like not super working. I absolutely believe that the book had a very different vibe. I imagine the train didn't almost derail, and like a lockpick maybe didn't go like, did it go up his nose? What happened with that? That was the thing that happened. That was a bizarre movie. Yeah, that's good enough. It's not quite a smooth arc, but it's good enough. Okay, working our way down. Oh, we gotta catch the rest of the sleeve and its details first. Perfect. I want to get like a little bit of extra darkness going on in there. Nothing crazy, just like a little extra. That would be hysterical if like the movie was just so much that they like did not have the animation capabilities to make it a reality. So like, okay, we have to cut out like the Santa versus 16 Ninjas scene. We know it's a staple to the original story. We're just gonna have to rework it. It totally changes Santa's character, but we have no choice. Like, we just have to make him a jolly old man instead. It'll be fine. The kids won't notice. Yes, we know in the original Santa, like, straight up murdered the villains, but, like, we can't get... They won't allow us to air it if we do that. What layer is that even on? Is that on the flat? Oh my. That's way back. And on the other side? No, but I totally forgot to like do the edge cleanup on the shadow layers for this one. Interesting. Oh no. Yeah, and then it turns into like a brief like homage to Jurassic Park. Yeah, that one's just kind of fun. I'll leave it. Oh, I'm on like the wrong layer entirely for that. Okay. Let's try this again. Cool. I mean, I'll be honest, as a kid, I probably wouldn't have wanted to watch that version either, but now I'd be kind of interested just to see what on earth happens with, like, action movie Jurassic Park version of the Polar Express. Somehow, I don't think we're going to get the rights to make that. Not sure why, it just feels like the original creators probably wouldn't go for it. Okay, we're down to the pans, which, admittedly, there's a lot going on with these. A lot to do. So much to do. And I need to really account for what I was doing on the other side, so I try to match the lights and shadows on that one, so it gets more complicated than usual. Good news on these is I can basically just leave them in full shadow. There definitely ought to be more shadow on even these ones. You'd get a little light, but like, not that much. There we go, full shadow on those. Okay, next up, the pants. They're already dark and get darker. Darker yet darker. Honestly, I may go ahead and fill them all the way dark, and then like erase to add highlights where it's necessary. Because there's going to be some spots, but I think it's going to be mostly shadow on this one. We've implied that there ought to be like a little bit on the back of this heel still, which makes an amount of sense. And like maybe some here, which makes considerably less sense, but I'll respect it. Let's see, this one. That could actually still have a fair bit of light. Like, there's gonna need to be some shadow from under this that I'll have to re-add, but like, I don't know. A lot of that could still be fairly bright. That'd be reasonable. Maybe less than we've currently got going, but like, fair chunk. It's up here on the calf that it gets a little more complicated. Let us see what we can do. On this one, I don't know, there's just not, honestly, the other legs probably ought to have even more shadow than they do. There's just not going to be all that much that's got light on it in this. This probably would. I get there'd be some amount of reflected light going on with that. Then that leaves the metallic parts. Oy boy. First off, I feel like this one ought to be just like another tier darker. And I feel like it ought to remain that on this side as well. Just stay like that. This one, the perspective on it's a little wrong, so we're just gonna have to work with it. That's a highlight. We'll catch it in the highlights layer. These... Oops. These do still have an amount of shadow going on. We probably got a little too fine detail. We did them early on, so of course I got a little too into it on the details. That's not the right brush. While it explains some things, still not helpful. Just put this part of the gem into shadow for the most part. That'll be fine. I feel like a lot of this edge of this is actually going to be somewhat shaded too. Not this. Oh, yeah, right. Okay. Some shadow coming over this way. Not like too much though. And then we'll catch that one again on the highlights. This, these need to be in shadow too. That's really the only detail there. I report, add more shadow to this. Oop. Add more shadow to the gem. That whole side is in darkness. And that point's a little off, but it's such a minor part of the overall thing that I'm not terribly worried about it. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and hang out some base values. Let's go ahead and get rid of that sun. I think that we're about done with what we needed it for. And I may add any bit of extra deep shadow on this real quick, and then we'll jump onto the highlights. On the base values layer, on the shadows. I hope I haven't put too many shadows on the base values layer, but at this point they wouldn't even be visible, so just have to deal with it. There we go. That'll be kind of an interesting shadow to keep that dynamic too. Just adding a little bit of excitement there. Oh, right, we actually did extra double shadow for this one, and I think it still fits for that particular spot, and for actually a bit of this one too, just because it's so completely out of the light. There we go. What do we want to do? Oh, okay, one more depth shadow real quick. Just an important one to keep. That's too much. That'll have to do. Fill bucket it. A little bit of it goes that way because it makes sense with this overhang, and then that'll be enough of that. There we go. Now the back's looking a little less flat, which is good. And we can jump to our highlights. Woo! Not too much to highlight. I'd highlight this, but it's already at the maximum I can do, so unless we do a pure white highlight, that ain't gonna happen. Which admittedly is an option if we wanted to, but I feel like we shouldn't. I'm actually going to add just a little more glint to this to really make it kind of pop. I'll add a little tiny bit to this. And the shield itself is still kind of flat, but again, there's just not a lot of light actually shining on it. We can grab whatever that is. Go up a bit, maybe 2. Just catch this edge a little bit. How is it catching that edge? No idea, but makes it pop a little more. We've already got the visor highlight going pretty well, and it's consistent enough with the other side. So let's grab down here, which is already pretty bright, and make it brighter. That eraser is too big. Okay, there we go. I'm always nervous when I switch the eraser and it just covers half the screen, because I'm worried I'm going to accidentally tap down and utterly annihilate part of my drawing. And I know I can just I know it's easy to undo, but it still scares me every time. A little more light on that, and then of course this, I mean, it's got its reflection on that side, but it still feels like it ought to have at least like a little glint going on the top. Proper bright. There we go. Don't need that spot. Okay. Like I said, highlights are much simpler. I guess the one thing we could do is the spear. I realized that highlight was on the shadow layer, but honestly, that's fixable. Okay, let's this going. Not quite centered. Helps it look a little more reasonable. Actually, I kind of like that curve in. It's not bad. Keep this. Just have that light on it. This sort of fuzzy matte stuff, really probably not a normal highlight candidate, but we could get like a little bit. Like along that edge, and then all the way down. We arrive down here. We can give this something of a highlight too. Realistic highlight, but good enough for what we're trying to do. The interesting part is that we can also give it something of a shadow. Leave that as is. And nab this and even go darker than it is, although it's both of those shadows probably ought to be on the shadow layer, huh? That's fine. No, we're not doing that all the way up. It's fine. It's got enough depth as is. Because this really isn't the focal point. We knew that whole one's going to be in shadow. Get some like interesting shadows in here just to give it some texture. And yeah, I think that'll probably be like I'm seriously not too worried about the actual spear's like appearance. Suppose we can try to add a little something to make it pop on here, but not gonna be much. I'm doing these like super scratchy lines, which is not great practice, but we're just trying to get it done, so you know. Oops, let's leave that layer where it is, please. I'm accidentally holding down the control key, which is what causes that, because I'm undoing and redoing a little too fast for what I can actually un and redo. Okay, there we go. Then that is shadows, and for good sense, I should probably stop here, but I think I'm not going to, because we're getting into some interesting stuff. So, what we're going to do next, pulling back up our salt, well, I'm not actually going to pull up the salt reference, it's this. But actually what I need to do is pull up the old olivine reference and get some colors in here. So we're going to hide all of those shadows and highlights for a second. Going to add and clip another layer to this. Base, I guess hues and saturations, to be fair. Because we've got our value in here, which allows us to figure out the light and dark balance, and sort of, you can use value to sort of, not guarantee, but influence where someone will focus first. If there's a lot of contrast, which is a lot of light right next to dark, it tends to draw attention more than areas that are mostly the same value. It also is a good way to help keep your color palette a little more balanced, because if you figure out the values first, then you aren't messing with like super bright neon colors by accident, or like aggressively boring muted colors. So I'm going to start with these. That is no guarantee that they're the palette that we're actually going to end up going with. But it is at least a start, and we're going to be very, we're going to go crazy with the fill bucket on this. Because we are basically just slapping these down to get them on here. Oop. Okay. And I believe also this, actually. Huh. That thing's like entire personality on a different layer or something? Oh, it's all in the flats? Oops. Oops. Alright, well that'll do. And then, hold on, I need to actually get this one fixed too. I want the base values, I want to be filling, yeah. Okay. That one too. And then we go all the way down just to make sure. Good. Okay, that part's set. Okay. How much stuff did I just straight up not even color in on the base values because it was just close enough? Okay, fine. Let's do a little bit of fixing real quick. It'll come back to bite us if we don't. That explains some of the wonkiness there. Okay, and then like a fingertip, it looks like. Oh, and then these, of course. Yeah, it was real late on the stream yesterday when we were doing that. I'm not surprised I missed some stuff. Okay, now no visible difference when we turn that on or off. Excellent, then we can move on from it. Okay, back to our reference. What's another common color? And I'm not 100% sold on this palette. So I like that gray on the pants. Just committing straight to this gray is really funny to me for some reason. Like, yep, that's the one. It's straight out of the palette. Not sold on that visor color. We'll come back to it. Oh, we went with green for this piece, did we? Interesting choice. I may swap that to a metallic later, but for now it's kind of a nice balance, ties things together. I'm going to add it to that gem as well, because that gem literally just isn't even in the other ref. Now we can get our kind of metallic-y blue-gray, which we used for a lot of stuff in this one, and I'll see if we do the same. I'm not 100% sold on it. I think we're probably going to change that one up, but we'll see. Let's see. Remember, these are just our base hues. This is before highlights and shadows. This is before a lot of stuff. There's more that'll make this work. Grab the green, right? Fill in these. Not that they're relevant. Okay, and then there's this kind of yogurt color, which I'm not super keen on, and I'm actually fairly confident I'm probably going to mess with and like change. Because it's so stinking much of the design. And it's like not the best. Alright, we can grab skin tone. Oops, not the ribbon. Come on. Chainmail. Did we actually go with this blue-gray for the chainmail, too? Interesting. Okay. Now, oh, right, and for the decorations up here. Should be a little more fill-friendly than the last time I did this. I have learned, although they're still not perfect. Okay. Alright, I think I wanted to have these ribbons be green too. Okay. Get that updated. Alright, no, not that. Just the ribbons. And then, let's see. Yep, all of that was part of the same yogurt color. So that, these, and this. We didn't really have the arm strap in a meaningful way. We'll match it to our metal color for now. For now. Yogurt, 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 yogurt. Meh. I don't like this color. If that isn't obvious at this point. Oh, I even made the spear that color? Why? I know we were having color palette problems before, but why did I do that? You. Whoops, no, not the chainmail. We can't make the chainmail yogurt too. For the sake of my sanity. This was kind of a weird choice for a metal color. Like, it's not horrendous, but it's a bizarre choice. Okay, and now I just need... Oh, wait, no. I'll grab that. Get the upper chainmail. I think that just leaves the visor and then the shin guards. Shin guards are, of course, yogurt, because why wouldn't they be? Meh. Meh. The headwear is also... I have so many regrets about this color palette. I get that the green plays nice with the other green, but it's like a little too light for that to work super well as such a most of the painting or drawing. Then I think I went with a custom gray for that visor. Alright, what did we do for the accents there? Oh, we just didn't even have them as accents. We filled them green too. Okay, well, let's start with where we're at. I'm gonna match the pants on that gray for now. Take our green, we'll close that. Acknowledge the fact that that's probably just straight up a hole in the base values layer, and that if I just fill it in, it'll be fine. And so this is one of the other benefits of values, is we haven't like destroyed the lightness and darkness of our drawing just by adding those colors. We can still go back, we could change the color scheme entirely super easily at this point. We can get a preview, like if we lower this, we can sort of see, well actually no, because we did the shadows differently this time. And that's, I mean you can sort of see where the shadows and highlights land, including a shadow that's definitely not supposed to be there, but could be an okay highlight. But yeah, no, that's definitely a misclick. Base doesn't have a lot of light and shadow on it, actually. I should probably fix that a little bit. Which that's the other benefit, is I can go into this right now and just make these tweaks. The problem is the sun was like at an angle where there's so little that would be in shadow. Like honestly, there's so little that would be in shadow. Guess maybe more on this side, but like, could be this. Makes her look a little more skeptical. That works. Yeah, the problem with no shadows is it's really easy for them to just turn into unwanted nostrils. Okay, let's see. I guess there could be a little bit of chin, but like, I don't know, we've already kind of done the other way, assuming there's not. Oh, well, that adds a little depth. And we can go ahead and hide our highlights and shadows now. Okay, this is our current color scheme before doing anything. Now, it has some potential, but it's, well, it's just not very good to look at, is it? Like, I don't think it's horrible. The colors kind of work together, but it's just meh. Like, Salts is so simple, and yet, even without the shadows on Salt, like, or, yeah, without the highlights and shadows on Salt, hers is really plain too, actually. That's fair. We could try adding highlights and shadows as is, but I think I'm going to want to make some tweaks. Let's put Salt away first, shall we? Okay. I'll leave this for now in case we need to come back to it. Colors do look more vibrant than any of the other one because I've changed my lighting and shading process a lot since we did that one. Okay. Base hues. First off, if this is going to be metallic, let's... I don't know, it feels like I should include those in it. Second off, if we're going to have a light color, let's... I mean, I know Olevine's whole thing is a green, and like, because it's based on the mineral olivine. Shocker, I know. But maybe instead of this blue-gray, we should just, like, be more authentic and just go with a gray-gray. That way, the green color is kind of more its own thing. I guess it'd work with that one, but, like, generally speaking. It can still be a warm gray. Like, it doesn't have to be a contrasting cool gray. It can... We can find something that's nice. And we can give it, like, a little bit... I have to be careful, though, because, like, I don't want to... I'm going to want to make it like a gray with a hint of something, I think. So let's get our color wheel out. We've got our gray. Let's get, like... I mean, this is probably how we ended up with that awkward other color, too. Let's see how this, like, minty gray looks. Just a test. Now, if I was really smart, I'd have all these colors as just layered by color, and then I could just press one button and swap between the two of them. But this is still much easier than our old way, so I'll take it. You know, honestly, I already like that better. The design feels a little more coherent. Like, we could probably go with, like, slightly more gray than that, and it would be okay still. Like, something more like this. That kind of, like, mossy green going along with it, I think worked pretty well. I'll tell you what, here's my thought. Between those two grays, metals should keep the darker one, or like functional metals should keep the darker one. Decorative metals should keep this slightly lighter one. And we'll add them both to our sort of palette. So functional metals get to be this darker one. Whoops. We'll like grab that, and we'll grab the chainmail. And we'll grab these like back pieces, but like the decorations on there, and then this, and then up here, which isn't even metal, we can keep with the lighter one, and I think that'll be a good combo. I want to grab this and like desaturate it, not a ton, just like a tiny bit. It feels just a hair too bold. Not sure that's really going to make much of a difference, truth be told. I don't want it to turn like too bland and muted. If it's too bland and muted, there's, you know, only so much we can do with it, really. But this is feeling like a much more coherent color scheme to me. And more like on character theme with the olivine, like olivine, you know? Kind of get our grays going down here. That works fairly well. And it honestly even makes the yogurt color kind of less objectionable because it fits in as a white tone against it. That said, maybe if we take our like greeny color and make it a tiny bit more, like a tiny bit more vibrant, we could lean into it a little more. But it might end up contrasting with our other bold green choice, so we need to be careful with that. Because like, oh wait. What if? Honestly, those kind of do work better if they're just the same color. That's really funny. If they just like are part of the woven design and they're not colored at all. That also kind of works just because there's so much of this color around it. I kind of liked the slightly less saturated version of this better, actually. I know there was still some up here, so let's... This area hates being colored in. Still had some blue. How many iterations ago? Go with our more muted one on that. It's still not completely muted. Interesting. And what if we go with that on this too? Does that look... that almost feels like too much contrast in the body now, honestly. Like, I like the look of it, but it feels like even having the belt as a darker color is already a lot. Maybe we could do that or the belt, but not both. Okay, there's a thought. Let's test this, and then let's put the belt back to yogurt. And I'm going to go ahead and remute those. That's okay. Still feels a little more disjointed than when we went with the yogurt for it. Which is a shame, because I really would like this to be able to pop a little. Even having that is kind of like a lot of contrast. Almost like it just being functional fabric, decorative fabric. Then we've got our metals and a little bit of nice decorative green. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and repeat this color scheme on the other one, and then we're going to go make it pop. Because I know y'all are probably looking at this and thinking, that looks so muted, like, and kind of bland compared to salt. But like, this is kind of popping in a bad way. There's too many colors vying to be the dominant one. Salt's probably has too much contrast with the purple, honestly, but it's fun. And I can't be mad at it for being fun. Okay, so we're going to go with our decorative green on these two. Good, okay. Let's go over here and update. So first, I'm going to get this one because it's a small enough change that I'm going to forget otherwise. Second, let's get these two, even that one, even the gemstones, and even like the little tiny nooks and crannies, like that stone and this little bit right there. Okay, I still need to choose a visor color. We can have fun with that. Let's get our new metallic, like for all the more serious functional metallics, including these. Let's get our more decorative metallic, or just decorative color in general, that we're using for these, which is still really close, I'm not going to lie. It's probably a little too close to be in the same color palette, but I've been enjoying it, so I'm going to stick with it. I like a classy forest green. It's like a little too dark to be olive. Or anyone says it's olivine, so you should name it olive, like, or should go with an olive color scheme. Like, I don't know. It's too close to the actual olivine mineral color, and I'm sure that's not a coincidence. I'm sure someone just named one of them after the other. I just don't know which. Okay. Anything I'm missing on the... Oh! Okay, hold on. I kind of want to take this for the spear, too. There we go. This is turning into a fairly nice green color palette. I'm happy about that. I was afraid it was going to end up a really nasty green color palette again. And like, look, it's not perfect. That one looks decent because it's a little more muted. This one, because the colors are popping, it's, you know, gonna pop. And then what I might do to go with the green is like get just a little bit of gold for this visor. Because that'll be a nice contrast. As colors, they tend to play nice together. That's a really saturated gold. I'm gonna have to be careful with that. And we can like throw it down here too. That way we have sort of a reason for those. Gives our, and it helps tie the look together a little more. We can add some to the spear. I may go with a less saturated one. At some point, that's just turning into like skin tone more than a metal. We could even add it to the gem and the shield if we really wanted to. That would be an excuse to add our more decorative green to the front of the shield, actually. I kind of like the idea of doing. Yeah, there we go. Front of the shield, honestly, we could make the whole shield that. Shields have always got like an aesthetic component to them. I think it makes sense for that to carry over as well. Here, maybe it ought to match the shield green, actually. If I don't zoom in, I'm going to miss some sections on this, I'm fairly sure. Oh, I need to finish some with the hand color. Whoops. But that's what's so nice about this new method I've been using for like shading and coloring and stuff, because it lets me iterate on these colors. It's still not perfect, but it's so much easier than it used to be. And we can grab this green, and it'll be a little bit less of an eyesore for this. Oops. That'll be nice. This will be good for that. Here we can actually just grab the pants gray for this. And probably for this too. I'm still keeping those as just like a straight up solid gray. Maybe the spear point goes with the gold. Would that be too much? It might be. This can. And the spear's supposed to be kind of ceremonial and decorative. I'm keeping going back and forth on that. I feel like it shouldn't be the yogurt color. Although that kind of works. Because I don't necessarily want the spear point to be dark. I don't know why, it just feels wrong when it is, so. Let's see, shield design idea. Grab our main color, add it, not to that, but maybe to this, or to these three. Get too busy, we could add it to the sides. Oh, that kind of works. I don't know, just throwing ideas around. Because it feels a tiny bit flat if I don't do something, but I also don't want it to be like too distracting. It's already got a lot of contrast. That shield draws a lot of the eye. Okay. And yeah, I'm just straight up not doing anything else to the eyes. They are what they are. Yeah, they're colored in. It's fine. Okay. Then with that worked out, this can get a little bit interesting. Y'all get to see the secret, and this is a secret that is not secret, and I've seen as a tip like dozens of times on Pinterest. But even so, it's, I don't know, something I hadn't experimented with until I sort of got into this workflow a little bit more, of like how I'm drawing things, and I have been quite enjoying it. And basically, let me pull up this particular pin as a reference. Rather than just taking the color and like adding gray and non-gray, like lightness and darkness, which, I mean, the value makes super easy to do. I mean, we could just add the shadow layer, and then like, oh, not the base hues. We add the shadow layer, and then we change its opacity down, and we add the highlights, and we also change their opacity down, and then boom, shaded. We could be done. But like, like it's not bad, but it's not great. And if anything, I kind of don't like messing with opacities because then you lose out on your color palette and like muddles things and adds other colors. So no. Instead of that, we're going to have a little bit of fun with our color wheel. Let's see. Their example on this Pinterest one is they've basically got as their core color, and I like colorful art. Like, you don't have to do this, but I really like colorful art, and I've spent most of my art experience has been me trying to figure out how to make colorful art that isn't like neon eye burn. I'm so bad at color palettes. But this, well, I'm getting better at it, but I started out super garbage. Supremely terrible. Because I like color. I don't like stuff that looks bland. And it's not that bland is bad, it has its place, but it's not what I want to create personally, is my point. I don't like making stuff that is plain in color. So what they're doing here with this orb is you've sort of got this same central color, this nice, like, not quite a cyan, it's like a lighter turquoise, somewhere between turquoise and teal. Anyway. Let's see. But it's that. And they're pulling like a whole slew of greens if they want as a shadow on one side. So if you're here, they can yank all the greens to yellows if they want. And then going the other way, for the shadows, they can yoink all of the purples and maybe even into like pinks and reds and have a ton of options. And that's what I'd rather do. So if we have our, I am actually going to go and create a new like rough key layer. I'll do like the cleaned up key and like the nice layout like we had on Salt off stream because that's not exciting to watch. I'm gonna be honest. It's just not. I literally just use the hexagon tool and then very slowly, meticulously like select sections from it in order to fill them with color. It looks kind of neat at the end, although I want to clean it up a little bit from Salts, but like creation process is boring. It's like satisfying in the same way as like those satisfying animations or videos are, but it's not like exciting. So first off, before we commit to that though, I'm going to hide the shadows one more time so we're just on our base hues, and I'm going to grab our color palette here. And I'm going to just throw it on this rough key layer. I can't believe the only color that actually stayed unchanged was the stinking yogurt. That was the one I was like the most not okay with, and then the whole rest of the palette just kind of came to work around it. That's so funny. I need to make sure I get both of these greens and next to each other so they have the most contrast, and I'm aware that I didn't just like double dip. Okay. Got our new gray, we got our new accent gray, we've got our dark pants gray, we've got our yogurt. We'll have skin tone, and then we'll have the gold. I think that's all of them? I hope I'm not forgetting any. Okay. There we go. I don't know why that's selected. Let's not do that. I wonder how long that's been selected. Because if it selected the whole screen, then I could just draw without noticing it at all. Okay. So knowing where green is on the color wheel. I mean, it's got a large range, but all of these, except for this one, basically, and this one. But even then, like, that's still, it all lives in this, like, half of the wheel. This one to this one are probably the furthest, and that's still, like, only a third. So not anything crazy. Well, and then the gray, but that one, this color wheel could be literally anywhere and it would still count, so, meh. Okay, let's start with start with the yogurt, because it's pretty dead in the center of our set. Now, what I want to do for shadows on the yogurt is take the yogurt's color, and let's see if I'm remembering this correctly, and let's see. For highlights, I probably want to do, we could do reddish for the highlights and colder for the shadows. I think that would be good for Ollie. Because Salt was a very warm palette and then ended cool. Green is like just in the middle, so I can really kind of choose whichever I wanted to do for which. I think we'll go with the cool colors for the shadows though, but it's not to say you can't go the other way. I'm gonna go over here. Like, that's the other thing with this, is like, this one is so low saturation, it's not going to make a huge difference. But my shadow color for it, and then weirdly, because gray, it doesn't matter, so the gray is always going to be the same, which is fine. And then the shadow color for this one, we're going to pull all the way down to here. That'll be our shadow for this one. Grabbing this green, I'm going to pull even further, and we'll get like into the purples. This one I'm actually going to do similarly because they're kind of similar vibes and in how they're used. This red I'm actually going to just pull into the greens. We could even like not pull it quite as far. The reddish skin tone, because that feels like it's going to be a really bold green. The gold I'm going to pull down into like a cooler blue too. I may try a different one for the skin tone. I feel like we pulled that too far. Like maybe somewhere more around here. It's very similar. Alright, well, we'll test with that. With those, in theory, being our shadows. And then, though our highlights are few, I guess we could do cool colors for the highlights and warm for the shadows. That wouldn't be unreasonable. Anyway, if we end up inverting, that's also super easy to do and change, so that is a-okay. Shadow. That's for the question. And then, once again, this gray is going to be the same, because no matter where we rotate this, it doesn't change at all. Our color wheel could turn into stinking caramel dancing, but the gray will not change, so it is what it is. Go back and grab this color, but instead we pull the highlights into the warms. Again, I can go pretty extreme with this one because it's so low saturation, which means, like, you can see it's like barely not gray. There's very little color in it, very little hue rather. Okay, for this one I'm going to pull it back into like the gold zone, the muddy gold zone as the case may be. You know, no, let's pull it further. Let's get it into like at least muddy brown. This one, similar vibe. I'm sure there's an art where it could be a little more precise than what I'm doing, but there is something fun about just like going for it. Because this one we're going to end up like more over here in the purpley pinks. And this one, I'm going to go for like as pink as I can too, actually. Maybe like, we could lean towards a purple. We'll end up with like a solo cuppy thing going. We could go a little more pink on it. Live in the world of magenta. Let's see. Highlights. This is where this gets really fun. And like things progress really fast. Like now that we've shaped out all of the different colors and everything, or like where the shadows and highlights go rather, it's much easier to apply all of this stuff. So like give me just a second real quick. And yeah, I'm gonna take a sip of water and we'll start doing this. Now, I'm sure there's more efficient ways to do this, but what I'm doing is just like we did with the base hues where we had our grayscale and then we just applied a normal layer that we just clipped to it so that the outlines stuck together. That's what we're going to do here too. So I've kept my keys organized so I know what needs to go on what, and anywhere that we see a shadow that is over top of the yogurt, we're going to apply this color. And I'm immediately feeling like this should have been a highlight color. We may have to invert our shadows and highlights. That's okay. Whoops. Wait. We're going to have to pay a little attention to our line boundaries because all of these shadows are on one layer. It's not like they're actually sorted by color. If you have good enough layer management, you can make switching color palettes like this extremely easy. I just am not quite there yet. Mainly because I'm trying to get these done in time for Artfight. I'm trying to optimize for getting it done in time for Artfight, not really for anything else. I'll just have to go over it with the other line at some point anyway, so that's fine. Yeah, this feels so much like it should be a highlight. I don't even know where to start. But I want to attempt it first. All right, no, that's not that one. But these. That. And all of this. And these. Because the question is, would this look more like a shadow? The answer is probably not. Actually, kind of a little bit. Not really, none of them. It just doesn't. Again, this color is so stinking low saturation that it'll kind of need the context of the other ones to even imply the shadow as well. At least that's what I'm gleaning from this. The gray pants we literally don't have to worry about. Now this is where the challenge comes. So right now we are doing what I was calling the functional green as opposed to the decorative green. Shadow hues, let's get this layered. I'm gonna have a hard time telling those apart. Dang, holy cow. I'm over here like finishing one ref a week and you're just tearing through those. I'm glad you had the redesigns on hand, but it's still awesome that you're able to just like get all those built out so fast. Oh right, why did I color that one? Okay. Looking for more functional green. Functional green. We're getting into our highlights and shadows now, which is like my favorite part with this new method. It's like the main benefit of this method. Functional greens. Yes, this. Okay. Now that, believe it or not, this one. Oh, jeepers. That may be too bold. We may need to adjust that. Any shadow on this, though. Like that, like these. Okay, we'll get that going. No, those were the decorative green. What else is functional green? I shifted a lot of stuff to decorative green, sort of, as we went on, didn't I? Okay, we'll do that. Let's go get our shadow for that, which has a little more pop to it with the purple. Oops, no, that'll be the gold shadow there. Decorative greens. This. Oh yeah, you got to get all the ships together. Can't split them up. Make that one decorative. That one's still functional. This one's decorative. I'm not sure what's a highlight from a shadow. We'll see. That's fine. Okay, we'll get to the highlights when we get to them then. Oops. Got another one of these. Oh boy. Okay. Up here in all this, of course. These. Actually, that'll be with this one. That'll be fine. I'm only doing this one for now. We'll see how these go. We'll test the colors, and then we'll decide if we want to move it to the other side as well. So this was the skin tone shadow, which I feel is going to be too intense. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. We're going to have to do some tweaks on that. May have gone a little overboard on the shadow color contrast this go round, which can still be fun, honestly. But it might be too much. And again, pushing salts to the absolute limit was like the absolute best result for that too, or like almost to the limit. I'm gonna commit to it and see where we land before I like nix this plan. Okay. And now let's get the gold. Okay. Yeah, these feel a little over the top. Let's do the highlights. And then let's decide if we want to actually like swap which one's which. I don't think there's a lot of highlight. Yeah, there's just this one. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. Let's shadows and shadow hues away. I don't even have a highlight layer yet. That's the problem. Highlights, highlight hues. Welcome back. Yeah, we're messing with this sort of color palette technique. I've probably got a little too much contrast on some of the shadow stuff right now. We're gonna have to tweak it a little, but we're getting there. Got this highlight. And throw that up there. I want to clean up that edge a little bit. A little silly. But thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. We're getting close to the end. Okay, wait, no, hold on. One thing at a time. First off, the kind of yogurty green highlight. There we go. There's one more for that. Our functional metal has some highlights. Oops. Which feel like they should be shadows. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to invert the highlight and shadow selections for this. Interesting. Yeah, no, that's definitely a color that ought to be a shadow. And vice versa. Whoops. Hit everything except what I wanted to. There we go. Here, I'm just going to throw some of these down real quick to get a final view, but like, I don't know. Skin tone, shadow will be this, or highlight will be this apparently. Should definitely be shadow. And then the gold, last one. Okay, so now if we have both layers on, yeah, I think we need to invert our shadow and highlight colors. Something awful. Which is perfectly fine. That is part of why we make it so easy to swap them. Oh, did I do some of these on the actual highlights layer? Dagnabbit. Okay, well, we'll just undo until that's undone. That's fine. Just undo the existence of that layer entirely. We can toss the shadow hues layer, because we'll just make a new one. Or, you know, easier, we can just erase everything in it. Yoop. Fresh start. That's why we test these things. Okay, so now inverting. Let's use the highlights as our shadows. It may still end up a little too bold. That's okay. Just something that we're testing. Oh, not that one. These. This. Going up here. All of these. Probably just do that with a big brush and it'd be easier. That one, we can fill that one. Fill these. Guess that one's a highlight, technically. Let's put away the highlights for now. Fill these. I have to get kind of in the nitty-gritty for this part. So many shadows. Maybe slightly smaller brush. Ah, got it. This shadow's just the wrong shape. Easy fix. Go. Okay, now we put our base values back, put our shadow hues back. Okay. A little more. Nope, not that color. Grab this. Ah, that's on the shadows layer. Oh boy. Almost. I have to be so careful about layer management at this point. There's so many going on, and I can't like hide or change opacity on them without messing with the others. So I have to just like actually pay attention, which is hard. Okay. Got that as the shadow color for these. Okay, let's get our sort of industrial green going. Oh, wait, nope. Let's get it going with the shadow this time as opposed to highlight. So industrial green, I think we decided was just like the chainmail. These. And this. I don't think there was any other. Yeah. I just realized we don't have like a shadow or highlight color for this middle green. Did we even capture it in our base colors? We didn't. The most defining olivine looking color. Nailed it. Didn't even put it in the stinking palette. Okay, and then what we were doing for the shadows was pulling more over here. For the highlights was pulling more into this direction. Okay. Let us try this again. Except now these are highlights, so I actually want to be pulling from this collection. Let's grab this one for the shadows on our more decorative greens. Oh boy, not the rough key layer. On the shadow hues layer. That one was pretty quick to be noticeable. Ah, okay, we'll need to come back and get that one. Do a little cleanup with the brush. I'm just trying to fill in colors to see if we are getting colors that we like. So if we aren't, I don't want to have spent a ton of time on that. Alright, and I know that this one is going to be the match for this. Cool. Okay. Is that really the color that we put on the shadow hues? No, it's not, because we're using... I've got to remember this. Okay, highlights. This one is for skin tone. I feel like it's still going to be too much. Maybe, but it definitely works better as a shadow than it did as a highlight. Grab a brush to catch that one because it's easier. Okay. And then we'll grab this one for anything that is gold, which there isn't a ton, but it does have shadows. And then we can get our actual, like, olive colors shadows. Not olive colored, it's olivine colored. Okay. Sort of co-opted that one, that's fine. Only one that still doesn't super work, in my mind, like, the ones on the greens feel a little harsh. But the only one that, like, really just doesn't work super great is, our, like, kind of yogurty color. Yeah, forgot to get these. But that's okay. can work with that so far. Oops, I wanted to get the decorative green. We were going with this. Okay, there we go. I'm starting to get a neck cramp from sitting here so long. Okay, save. Oh, jeepers, it's already past 11. Oh, boy. Well, we're almost done with a decision point on this, at least, and probably the... Oh, rats. Okay, no, tiny eraser. I was talking about... What is that? On the shadows layer, huh? Okay, we'll deal with that. Okay, undid coloring in a shadow, though, possibly. Nope, it's good. Yeah, I need to stretch. If I had redeems, stretching would definitely be one of them. There we go. That's better. It's like I've got my setup to try to give me like good posture when I'm drawing, but then like I slowly scooch my chair further and further away. Like every time. I don't know how I do it, but I'll just find myself sitting there like, you know, a foot back from where I ought to be. I'm just like, oh, this is what we're doing, I guess. There you go. Clear out that blue. Now let's do the highlights real quick. And we've got a highlight palette that is currently labeled shadows. We'll call it highlight hues. And this is because I used to waste so much time iterating in this phase, like so much time, that because I constantly had to redo like I could never get values or colors that worked well together. I was constantly redoing them. And so having this way where we've got the values sorted out already and we're really just dealing with this is just leagues better. Okay. Functional is going to be this. That doesn't feel too great as a highlight color, honestly, either, but, you know. Okay. Supposedly the highlight for that is decorative gray, so its highlight would be this one. Eh. I may have to tweak that one a little bit, just play with it. This one's decorative, so its highlight's also going to be more like this. Grab the current skin tone highlight. Yeah, that actually kind of works. Huh, who'd have thought? Oh, that's like a problem that goes all the way to the base of values even. Holy cow. Guess that was just me getting sloppy with the fill tool, huh? There we go, that's better. These probably ought to have some other highlight on it. I mean, even Salt had the nose highlight, which we could do again. Grab this. This, we go up like 2, and we just do a very simple little, like, the nose highlight thing, and then we can put our colors back. Not sure how well the green's going to go with it, but it's what we got for our highlight at the moment. Kinda works, we'll see. Alright, next highlight color is the gold, which I do actually like the contrast this one provides. I just don't know if it'll be an overall good look. Ah, I forgot one really important detail that's going to be affecting all of this, and it should actually make some big progress on it once I swap that. So cool, we'll do that at the end. Any highlights on the light green? Not really. Okay, so we still need to do the other side, but let's see what we're looking at the moment is some pretty overly bold stuff. However, I've changed these to color layers. Let's see how that works. Because that will keep... Okay, that's better. Because what that will do is it'll keep the value of our gray on a light to dark scale, And it'll just oh jeepers, some of these ones are still way too bold. Yeah, the skin colors I'll need to manually like make those chill a little bit. But this way, like around the shield, you can see that without that, they were like really, really dark and grim still. But once we set it to actually match the value of what was on it, it is better. Not color dodge, color. I actually probably ought to do this with the base hues too. Oof, no, that's. Well, I mean, this at least looks like a highlight and a shadow now. Skin tones, I'm gonna have to moderate those and not go quite as extreme on my color contrast. The purple actually could work if we didn't have so much around the face. The green is probably too much on the face. Well, I may have to make some more tweaks to this off stream, and tweak it because I'm unfortunately hitting time limits about where I have to go to bed. Maybe we'll do a bonus stream tomorrow. Keep working on it. I can't promise that though. I've got other stuff that I'm unfortunately kind of committed to do as well. But this is at least a start. I do like, as much as I don't think the gold looks good on this, maybe we go back to at least the base hues not being a color and just being a normal. We'll see. I think that's got kind of an interesting thing going there. I like the gold. Yeah, these are kind of dependent on it being color. I should have set that setting much sooner. Well, something to work on. Until then, I'm fear that I'm going to have to wrap up for the night. And so we'll be leaving you with this one. We will get Olivine posted in time for Artfight one way or the other. And without the shadows and highlights, I think... Yeah, no, funny enough, this color scheme actually just works better as a normal layer, which is... on the one hand, unfortunate, because it kind of undercuts the base values a little bit. Well... or does it? How did the whole thing become gold? How does this always happen? Maybe I just need to, like, unclip and reclip it? No, I guess the flat... Not sure why it would need that. Apparently it does. It needs the values. It's not using the values. Like, if I made this not a clipping layer... well, it changes the background because I accidentally filled it with the wrong color. But, otherwise... I guess it does a few things. But... huh. Funky. Funky, funky, funky. Well, unfortunately, it's getting a little late tonight to debug that and tweak it. The high contrast worked real well with Salt, but I may have to chill a little bit on my contrast with this one. But we'll definitely get it posted. We'll get it posted to the Discord. We'll get it posted to Artfight once it's ready. And I am confident the hardest part by far, or at least the most time-consuming, I don't know if it's the hardest, but the most time-consuming is just like getting the shadow areas defined. Now that that part's done, or at least close enough to done, I've got to get rid of that tail. We accidentally undid it in the past, undid getting rid of it, and it's got to go again. Also, that highlight is just like straight up not in the right place. Let's take you and put you more over here with the correct brush, maybe. Less over here. It'll have to do. Not perfect. It looks a little bit like an eye coming out of the top, but that's fine. The point is, one way or the other, we're real close. We've got all the shadows and highlights defined. It's just a matter of getting our color palette to play nice with them. And that, actually, I suspect that is something that I'll be able to do. Well, no, because we were pulling directly from the colors, not from the base hues anyway. Well, it's something that we will be able to do, though. We'll definitely get it to work. So, one way or the other, we will have this going. Until then, I hope y'all have a great morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever time of day or night it might be for you. And, yeah, we'll catch y'all on the flip side. Have a good art fight. If I don't see y'all till then, have a good art fight.